Hello and welcome to the Super Rugby Round 15 preview brought to you by DrivingMaul. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, your best place for rugby opinion and, what does I do? Oh yes, that's right, predictions. So do join us for that. Today we'll be going through the Super Rugby Round 15 games, telling you all about all the players that have been selected and all of that kind of stuff. Give you our predictions and our reviews. And joining me, I have the one, the only pillar from Grit Sports, but for some reason my fingers were there. Yes, you're on screen now. Good. Panic, technical issues. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, Ben. How are you, Paul?
Not bad at all. And whilst I'm the best place for predictions and opinion, he is best place for stories behind players. So check out Grit Sports website for those and all of that kind of lovely stuff. This weekend, Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Oh. I'm saying we've got a big interview this weekend as well.
So who have you got?
Look out for it on Monday.
Oh yeah, looks like you got a bit of it's cutting out there, so it's going to keep a secret, but it's coming out Monday, so guys look out for that and check out the website. So first up, we have a top of the table clash, the Crusaders versus the Hurricanes. What do you think about the Crusaders for this weekend?
Crusaders have been in very good form. They look unstoppable actually. Besides the loss against the Hurricanes, the last time these two teams met, they've actually looked very like a very solid, strong squad. I mean, they can afford to lose players and still perform on the field and get the 4 to 5 points. They've got a very big squad, so they are able to replace players with other guys that are coming through in the group. So the Crusaders have been in good form so far.
No, absolutely, they have been on good form, and they have missed. They'll be missing Franks and Moody through suspension, but Crockett and Alatoa have both stepped up and shown early this season when those guys were injured that they can play. So that's not such a big deal. They are though missing Whitelock in the engine room, so he's going to be a big loss for them. Not only the captain, but also one of the best locks in the world. So this is not a full strength side.
Yeah, I mean, even the last time they played in Wellington, Whitelock was there, but they still lost. So it's up to these new guys now that are coming through to actually put their hands up and show everyone what they're capable of. So for Barrett and the other new lock, that
Okay, it looks like we're going to struggle with Skype issues this evening, unfortunately. But yeah, so the new lock, so Quinton Strange alongside Scott Barrett. Bit surprised Luke Romano is on the bench and isn't starting, but it does give Quinton Strange a good opportunity to show his worth and step up. The other big player missing, of course, is I've gone blank.
Impressed with how the Hurricanes have been playing.
They've
been winning, right? But
before we get on to the Hurricanes, in the backs we have Tim Bateman and Jack Goodhue because Crotty is missing again through head injury. That was the name I was looking for.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that back line with Bridge, Tmanavalu, David Havali looks like a strong back line. You were going on to the Hurricanes.
I was saying basically, I mean, the Hurricanes have been winning, yes, but their wins haven't been really convincing. You watch what happened last weekend against the Reds at home, and now they have to travel to Christchurch. So I don't know what it is, but they are winning, yes, but there's something missing. They're not putting teams away. I mean, they could be a team that's capable of putting teams away, but they're not actually putting teams away. And I think this weekend they'll be challenged by a much stronger side, a side that's playing at home, a side that wants to revenge their loss in Wellington. So they'll be challenged on all facets of the game this weekend, whether it be lineouts, scrums, and at the breakdown as well.
No, absolutely, and it's going to be interesting. We're missing Also and Proctor, which means that Geordie Barrett has moved into the centres. We're playing in the 13 jersey, so it's going to be interesting to see how he goes there. Fafita is also being rested this weekend, so it's Brad Shields back into the mix with Ari Surveyor and Blade Thompson, with Princep to come off the bench. So no Evans either, who has also been playing well. So whilst this is the top two sides, it's the top two sides. All teams have to handle injuries, but yeah, we're not going to quite see the best versus the best, unfortunately, this weekend in this game.
Yeah, key contest for this game for me personally. I think first five at Flahoff, Barrett and Moanga, and then Goodhue and the other Barrett coming in at 13.
Yeah, Goodhue's been playing great this week. This whole season, and hence he's there in the All Blacks selection. And you're right. Can this Hurricanes front five get them some front football? Because the Crusaders will be looking to bash them back on that gain line and get that ball. The other big thing this weekend is that the Hurricanes have only lost one game all season and have played one less game than the Crusaders. If the Crusaders were to lose this one, then that would be a big blow for them trying to get that number one seed or topping the New Zealand Conference. This is a must-win game for the Crusaders. Not quite so for the Hurricanes, though. So what's your prediction?
Yeah. I've got Crusaders by 6.
By 6? I've gone Crusaders as well. I've gone by 3. I think we're in agreement on that one. The next one, though, it could split us, I think. The Rebels versus the Sunwolves.
Yeah, this game, I mean, the Rebels come from a bye last week, and then the Sunwolves will be, I think they'll be in high spirits coming into this game because, they've just gotten 2 wins in the past 2 weekends. They beat the Reds, they beat the Stormers consecutively, and I think they'll be highly motivated, but I don't think they can upset the Rebels at home.
So let's have a quick look at some of that. So Dame Helmut Petty is back. Also, he was out through head injury and then I think a different other injury. So he's had an injury interrupted season. So it's good to see him back in there. But the Rebels are still going to be missing Genia. So Ruru is going to be running things. Interestingly enough, Reece Hodge at 10, with Debrasini out of the match day 23 entirely, which is a bit of a shock.
Yeah, I think they're trying new things to see what works well with Guinea out, especially in the halfback combination. So maybe they're trying to get quick ball from the 10, spreading it out wide early, because we know how the Sunwolves, what type of game plan the Sunwolves play. So they're in your face, spreading the ball out wide. So they also want to counter attack with the same concept, basically.
Yeah, the Sunwolves or Japanese rugby is already looking towards the junior internationals. So we're missing a lot of the Japanese international players from this game. So if you're looking at the Sunwolves, the starting lineup, it reads very much like basically a second 15. You've still got players like Hayden Parker and Michael Little who don't qualify for the Brave Blossoms, but just about all the Brave Blossoms do look to be out of this one. So with that in mind, even though they have had back-to-back wins, you've got to say home advantage will be enough here for the Rebels.
Yeah, I'm going with the Rebels here.
So I went Rebels by 3, but that's before I saw the fixture list. I think it'll probably be more than that. How many are you going by?
10 Rebels.
10. In the chat though, we've got Rebels by 6, Rebels by 16 from Christian. And Christian, I think you are going a bit big there. But it is a second team, so we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. We then, Sunday morning, our time, I will be live. Oh, by the way, I will be doing live post-match reaction to the Crusaders versus the Hurricanes from the Crowded House in New Plymouth. So if you're in New Plymouth, come on down to the Crowded House, join me for a beer, and watch the game with me, and then I will do post-match reaction from the bar. And then I will also be doing post-match reaction for Jaguares versus the Sharks. But that's like a morning game for me, so I'll be on the tea and coffee, not on the beers for this one.
It'll be Friday night for me.
Friday night for you, so Jack's on the beers for this. So not Jack. Oh, Deary Phillip on the beers for this one.
Jaguares. Well, they've won 5 on the trot now. They kind of look unstoppable, to be honest. But the only difference is now they've never beaten the Sharks in this game, in Super Rugby competition. So, but I think the Jaguares could actually make it 6-0, in their favor. I mean, they've made good changes in this team, and removing Creevy as captain and Lebanini not being available, and the discipline has also changed. I mean, the Jaguares was a side that used to just get 2 to 3 yellow cards in a game. So they used to play with 14 men pretty much for half of the game. And their discipline has changed, and their attitude towards the game has also changed. Their commitment on and off the ball during the games, has improved drastically. So they've been very impressive for me so far in the past 5 weeks.
Yeah, unlike the Sunwolves, we are seeing all of the normal faces. There's a Creedy starting, Lavanini's there, Kramer, who had a really good game last weekend, Decio, Sanchez, obviously, Orlando, etc. So yeah, we're looking at a full strength Jaguares side. Up against them, obviously in the Sharks, a lot of the. It's interesting to see Daniel Dupree at 8, rather than I think he's been playing at 6 most of the season, with Robert Dupree obviously running things and Cohen Bosch at the back there. A fairly, obviously the Beast, a fairly standard team there from the Sharks. No big names missing. I can see straight away.
Nothing has changed from the Sharks side. Pretty much, they've kept the same team. So. I guess they would like to have continuity after beating the Chiefs last week, or not a very strong Chiefs side, but they'll be tested this weekend. Definitely on Friday morning, on Friday night, they'll be tested by the Jaguares. Definitely,
absolutely. And I've gone Jaguares by 7, but this is one of the ones that I find the hardest to call, and I'm finding hardest to call any game with the Sharks recently because they are so up and down. That we've had some wonderful performances from them, and we have had some absolutely appalling performances from them. And I say that not because I'm happy about it, but because I'm just so disappointed in them. I know they can do so much better. The same thing I've said every week, pretty much, that this Sharks side is my most disappointing team this season.
They do have all the potential. I mean, they've got the players, they've got actually quality players. It's just a matter. I think it's a mindset thing now for the Sharks. And when you lose games that you think or that that you should have won, I think that kind of hits you hard. I mean, on your psyche. So I think that is the only problem with them currently. And if they can fix that, if they can fix their psyche right, I mean, they could actually turn things around and actually start winning games. But they've been up and down, like you said, and it's very difficult to call the Sharks game every weekend, actually. So, but this weekend I also went with Jaguares by 7 as well.
By the same number? Oh wow, exactly the same. That's a new one for us. So I say, join me on YouTube. I'll be doing live after that. I'll see who I can get available to come and join me. I don't know. Pillar might be available to have a chat. We'll see. But he might have other things to do on Friday nights. We then head over to back to New Zealand. Sorry, for the Chiefs versus the Waratahs. The Chiefs with players like Damon McKenzie, back in the side, but still missing Sam Cane. But Brodie Retallick is there. So, how do you see the Chiefs this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs last weekend, all their players went back to New Zealand for the All Black camp, I guess. And so, basically, Colin Cooper has now made 7 changes for this weekend. So, they kind of get a boost from last week's dismal performance, if I may call it that. But so with all the New Zealand, all the All Black players coming through, besides Sam Cane, that'll be a big boost for them, and they're playing at home. So, and also the other guys didn't have to travel, flying back from South Africa to New Zealand, so they'll be well rested. Would have been at home, and it should be a good boost for the Chiefs, actually.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing Charlie Ngatai back at 12 as well. We've not seen him. He's been playing fullback a lot. He got to play 13 last weekend with players missing, but now he's going back to 12 to partner Anton Leonard-Brown. My only hope is he doesn't get a head knock playing in the narrow channels. Pardon me, because that's what because he's so well known for that. But otherwise, excited to see.
Because now definitely that Gibson and the Waratahs will be targeting that channel, knowing how fragile Ngatai is. But also, I think
small Dave McKenzie, a fragile Charlie Ngatai. Yeah, that 10-12 channel is going to get some traffic.
No, definitely. But I also think the Chiefs want to nullify the Kurtley Beale threat in midfield, because because I think they're trying to nullify the Waratahs midfield as well by putting Ngatai there, so that Kurtley Beale doesn't get too much space. Because if you give him too much space, then we know how dangerous the Waratahs can be in the backline. Yeah,
I mean, Phipps, Foley, Beale, Rona, Norovoro and Clark out wide, and then Folau. Cam Clark, admittedly, is fresh at this level. He's still new, but definitely one of the wonder kids of Australian rugby. Lots expected of him to come through.
Was he? He was at the Sevens, eh?
That's right. Yeah, one of the Sevens guys who's coming across. Definitely one of the young kids are expecting to do well and to be a future Wallaby, definitely. So, it's a talented stacked back line. Then the forwards is always where they're going to struggle. I mean, with Rob Simmons, Tom Staniforth in the engine room, they're so reliant on Sukeo Pikepu at prop, really, for amongst forwards and Hooper, obviously. So we'll see how that goes. But up front, I think they might get a bit of a bashing from the Chiefs, personally, and it's whether they can get enough front football for Foley, etc. in the backs. Again, still one of those stories that we talk about every week.
The thing is, I've watched the Waratahs actually play this whole season, and for me, they're not strong at all in their forward pack. Because I watched them play against a South African team. South African teams actually overpowered their forward pack. So if the Chiefs can just focus on that, then their back line doesn't get a lot of ball to exploit the opposition with, basically. So for me, if the Chiefs with Brodie Retallick coming back, Liam Mason playing at 8, they can just focus on nullifying, putting as much pressure as possible on that Waratahs forward pack if they want to win this game, basically.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think that the Chiefs will win this one up front, and I'm backing them to win it by 5. One of the interesting things was this was the out of all the fans in New Zealand, this was the one that it was Brad Webber at the Chiefs who was the first to speak out against Folau and his homophobic views. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of reception the crowd give Foley and the Tars, because there was a lot of talk around on social media that this would have a big crowd and a big crowd in some very bright rainbow colours. So that's something also to look out for. Oh yes. So we'll have to see what kind of reception he gets.
See this.
It's been quieter recently. We haven't. It was a reaction that came out when it originally happened. So I've not seen as much on Twitter over the last week or so. So it'll be interesting to see how. So we'll see how much of it was just reaction and how much of it actually comes through as to actual action. But yeah, I whilst sure the Tars broke the run last weekend, they were helped by red card, and I think that the new New Zealand Australia run is about to start again.
Yeah, I could tell from the commentary on Saturday last week that the Australians were quite happy about breaking the deadlock basically. 40, what was it? 40 and over for a long time. Now it's 40 and 1. So now the Waratahs need to continue with this momentum. If they can win this weekend, then they stand a good chance of actually competing against New Zealand teams after all.
And talking of dreadlocks, so I was going to go on a slight tangent here. Have you seen Will Genya's latest hairstyle? So he started the season with the big dreadlocks, and I was like, where did they come from? And it's like, oh, hair extensions, clearly. And now they've gone, and he now has some sort of funny bleach blonde frizz going upwards. It all looks a bit strange. So yes, Will Genia clearly trying to go for the wildest lid in the Super Rugby this season. So have a look out for that.
We'll do. That's too much. That's too much. That's what happens when you have too much time on your hands, huh?
Exactly. Don't get injured. Yeah. Don't let Genia get injured because he has too much time and just goes. What can I do with my hair next? Very true. Yeah. So Reds versus the Highlanders. Now I've got a Reds team list, but not a Highlanders one, so I'm not sure who the Highlanders are going to turn out for this one. But how do you see this one going without knowing both the sides yet?
Oh, I think I've got the team actually for the Highlanders.
Oh, you have? I've only got the Reds one, so
yeah, no, they don't have. On my sheet, they don't have Aaron Smith for this game.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have Aaron Smith, but pretty much the same team that beat that lost to the Waratahs. So barring that other winger that got a red card, so Tavita Lee comes back in on the wing. So I don't know. The Highlanders, I don't know. They started off well during the season, start of the season and beginning of the season, and now they kind of, I don't know. They kind of slopping off slowly and gradually going down, because I guess the Waratahs last week, yes, they had 14 men, but some mistakes they were making, like so elementary.
Oh dear, I've got the list here, and it says, the headline is Highlanders resting 4 All Blacks as Liam Squire returns from thumb injury. Yeah, the Highlanders don't have that many All Blacks. To be resting 4 of them is is quite a lot. So so you've got Josh McKay at fullback, Naholo's there, Rob Thompson, Weldon in the midfield, Tavita Lee on the other side, Liam Asopwanga, and then Harrington, as you said, and then in the looking a bit light in the pack as well. So interesting. Ash Dixon at hooker is going to captaining the side. Now,
yeah,
without the 2 Smiths, I must admit I'm a lot less confident than I was initially, because I went with Highlanders by 5, but have it.
I said Highlanders by 7.
Highlanders by 7. Wow. Historically, when the Highlanders have rested both Smiths, they have struggled, but they've generally rested Sopawanga at the same time as well. So this time at least Sopawanga's there, so they're going to kick the goals. And they have got Naholo in the back line, who didn't have a great game last weekend, to be fair. But again, the Reds have had such a poor run. It's hard to see them winning any games, really.
Yeah, I mean, the Reds, they also blow hot and cold. I mean, it's kind of like same teams at the same level meeting each other this weekend, in a way, even though the Highlanders have won more. But the Reds against the Hurricanes last week, they didn't give up fighting. They didn't give up, so they kind of went toe to toe with the Hurricanes, but obviously the Hurricanes had just had too much power, and they actually lost the game. But I think at home, the Reds will try and upset the Highlanders, and getting the Highlanders losing 0-2 in Australia, which is unheard of.
I was going to say that would be a turn up for the books. So you've got to say that the Highlanders would be, whilst they are resting players and their depth is being tested, the ones that are there will be there to go, look, we can't let us go 0-2. That would be crazy. The Reds, a side that beat the Lions, that had thrashed the Tars the weekend before. So the Lions beat the Tars, then lost to the Reds. The Reds then go up to Japan and concede over 50 points. It wasn't even 60, I can't remember now. But anyway, conceded over half a century of points. Another one of these sides that then go to the Hurricanes and perform well. Who's going to turn up on Saturday or Sunday, whenever the game is?
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing, because that's why I started off by saying the Reds are also blowing hot and cold. So, but I think now, after last weekend's game, they know that they can compete. It's just a matter of getting the mind right, the mindset. With a lot of teams, actually, not just the Reds. With a lot of teams, if they can just get the mindset right. Even Brad Thorne said he knows if his team is going to get a hiding way before the game even starts. So I think it's the small things that happen prior to the game, your warm up, the attitude in the changing room. So basically,
it's all in the top 2 inches.
Yeah.
All of this doesn't matter apparently. If I get my top 2 inches right, I could be a professional rugby player.
Yeah, those are the things that matter a lot. So it'll depend. I'll listen into the commentary and see how Brad Thorne sees his team performing against the Highlanders, because that'll tell the difference. But I said Highlanders by 7 for this one, though.
Cool. So we're both going with the Highlanders. Now, quick reminder, folks, please do hit the like button down below. Always up for good old rugby chat, so lots of comments, also much appreciated as well. So the like button and chats, lots of chats and bants. Good. Where was I? So then we go over to the Bulls versus the Brumbies over in South Africa. Oh, that's what I forgot to say. I forgot to say that I'll actually be doing live post-match reactions, Chiefs Waratahs. As well, so doing 3 games this weekend and as well. So yeah, Bulls versus Brumbies up on the Heimveld. Lots of Brumbies gasping for breath. How do you see this one going? Yeah,
the Brumbies almost upset the Lions at home last weekend. If it wasn't for the red card, I think the Brumbies could have just pulled it off, to be honest. So they'll be quite bleak about the results last week. But since now they've spent a week, 2 weeks, since they've spent 2 weeks now in South Africa and acclimatized to the altitude, they should be fine for this weekend. But
yeah,
I think John Mitchell,
for the audience, we should let people know that that the Lions in Joburg is not that far away from the Bulls. And it's at the same altitude, so yeah, it's not like travelling from the coast up into the Heimveld. They've had 2 games in the Heimveld for this, which helps them from that point of view. Sorry.
Yeah. So, I was getting to the Bulls as well. John Mitchell wasn't too impressed. In the post-match interview, I think he will have come down at the Bulls very hard. So this weekend we might see a different Bulls side that lost to the Jaguares last week. Because I don't know what happened to the Bulls. They were just not there last weekend. And the Brumbies will see a slight chance of upsetting the Blue Bulls at home. But I think the Bulls will have too much power, too much sauce actually for them, for the Brumbies this weekend.
So yes, the Bulls did perform bad, didn't have a great game last weekend. But the South Africa, the Africa table or conference really is intriguing. You've got I think the Bulls and the Stormers on the same number of points, only a couple of points behind the Jaguares and the Sharks, which sets it up for a big. Makes all these games are really important. They're all trying to hunt down the Lions.
Yeah.
So that that's what it comes down to. Is that is that we've got the Sharks versus the Jaguares, both in the same points. If they again must-win game from both of those, if they lose that, catching the Lions is going to be difficult. And again, the Bulls will be looking at the Stormers in the game afterwards, doing them a favour. I think at home, the Bulls are going to have too much of the Brumbies. But it's the story around this next one: Stormers versus the Lions. All the other South African teams looking to this, with the Bulls, the Sharks, and the Jaguares, all looking at the Stormers, going, "Please do us a favour. Please win this game. We need to claw back the Lions."
Jeez, it's so difficult. Jeez. With the current Stormers form, yes, it's so tight. It's so tough to even call this one because we don't know which side is going to show up. I mean, one weekend Stormers they look like a playoff team, a team that can make playoffs, and the next weekend they're just not showing up, man, and kind of look lethargic in everything they do basically, and they've really disappointed a lot of people because they've got a good squad as well, just like the Sharks. Actually, they've got a very good squad. They've got the players. They've got quality players. But it's just that
they have. One of the in our pre-season preview, our question marks for the Stormers was around their halfbacks. They had a couple of inexperienced, talented guys, but not guys who have got experience at this level. Will they stand up? How will the pressure? How are they used to travelling overseas and playing games? Not very much. Will the bright lights of Hong Kong with the 60-foot skyscrapers around you be distracting for the game and all of that kind of all that kind of stuff? And they're learning how to travel.
A guy like Willems, who actually showed up this season, he's actually been very impressive at number 10 for the Sharks. But I don't think he got a lot of support in terms of his forwards laying a good platform for him. But it kind of was like he has to do all the work for everyone around him. So, I mean, that's a lot of pressure for a youngster who's just come out of high school. So, yeah, I mean, the senior guys need to stand up this weekend, especially they loose trio, they front row, because the Lions are quite strong up front, and they've got a very strong back line. Actually, the Lions have a very good...
the Lions have quality from 1 to 15. The problem is they just haven't been playing well this season. The Stormers, and you're saying, Williams is playing well. He's playing great at home, and he's managed to win every game at home apart from against the Chiefs. That's the only game they've lost at home. Away from home, they can't buy a win. They've not won away yet all season, which is hence this. Maybe there are a few guys there who haven't learned how to travel, how to play away from home. Whereas at home, when they've got the crowd behind them, when they've managed to have mummy's cooking for the week, slept in their own bed, nice and comfy, it's a different ball game to when you're actually suddenly in. It's all in there. For those on the podcast and not watching the video,
it's what we've been saying. I mean, it's 15 weeks of Super Rugby now. 15 weeks. You know what the competition is all about. You know how grueling. You know the traveling. You know the mental aspect that's required for this type of competition. I mean, you have guys that have played over 30 to 40 caps in Super Rugby currently. There's only a few guys who have less than 10 caps within the Stormers and the Sharks as well. Stormers, Sharks, Lions. So I don't know what attitude the guys have this season, which is not a good one basically. where they need to change their attitude. They need to start grafting, man. Much harder than, because I think most of South African teams think results are just going to come at them. So they'll work hard, maybe first 10, 15 minutes of the game, and then the next 60 minutes, they kind of rest on their laurels, basically. So the Stormers need to grind this weekend, and they need to grind hard because they lost against the Sunwolves. They need to basically bring back the supporters back into the stadium and give the supporters something to smile about, I guess, as well.
They do. I've gone for the Stormers. How many have I've got? By 5. But in this one, because of their home form. But Christian makes a good point. When is the last time the Lions lost to a South Africa team? Have the Lions lost to a South Africa team this season?
No.
So
they've beaten the Bulls. They've beaten the Stormers at home. Yeah, they haven't lost.
So a team that's
the only team they lost to was the Jaguares in the conference,
and that was overseas. That was in.
Yeah.
So again, another team that's fine until you actually have to travel over water. And Lions don't swim well. So this is the
past season. 3 seasons actually.
The last 3 seasons they've not lost to a South Africa. Wow. So good point. So I'm now starting to think, maybe I've gone and got this one wrong.
I went with the Lions.
But hey, you're yes. But let's pin your colours to the mast, sir. Which is you wear. Whilst I bleed blue, you bleed red. Because I back the Blues, but the Lions are your team as well. So sometimes it's heart over head as well. But now, having heard that record, I'm now second guessing myself. But I've gone Stormers by 5, and you're going Lions by how many?
I said Lions by 5.
Okay, so again, within a score, so it's still going to be a tight one, you think?
Yeah, no, it will be definitely tight, but I think Lions have too much firepower than the Stormers, unless the Stormers do something unexpected, some drastic. They show up, man, for 80 minutes. If the Stormers show up for 80 minutes, then it could be a different story. But currently, I don't see them pulling that off. I think the Lions will just be too strong for them on Saturday in Cape Town.
Yep, so I'm second guessing now. But as I say, the Stormers haven't. The Stormers have only lost the Chiefs at home. Otherwise, they've been perfect at home. So I'm still going with them. Just a comment on here by Andre. So Andre has gone and said, all in the head. It's the same size field, same lines painted. Now, having done, I had a chat with one of the Blues players, and did check out my website. There's an article on there called that says "A Week in Life of a Rugby Player," and he talks about how much of his week is about recuperation, and how little of his week is really about training. And it's all about recovery, and going and getting massages. And when they're at home in their home city, they have all the teams have deals with local massage places and stuff, sports massages, not dodgy ones, folks, before you get to the wrong idea. So where they can go to training, go get a sports massage, then go home. When they're on the road, A, they spend a day on their aeroplane when they can't recover. And B, when they get to wherever they are, wherever they're training, they don't have their normal support structure around them, be it massages, etc. And that makes a big difference to a player and what they're like. You've interviewed more players than I have. Did you get that kind of feel from them as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to focus more on a lot, because the players are traveling a lot. I mean, there's high demand on the body. There's a high demand on the mental side. There's a high demand on a lot of things. I mean, some players even have families, the strain. I mean, we need to look at all those aspects and try and figure out a way of breaking it down on how to put everything together. So how to cope with with the traveling, how to cope with overuse of your muscles and your body, basically. So we need to find a way. I mean, I think New Zealand guys have got it to the T, basically, because I mean they travel back and forth and they still come up with wins, and here we are still trying to make travel the excuse of losing. So yeah,
it's a shame again that Skype's dropped out there for Pillar. But one of the other things, I mean, there is the travel element of it, but there's also players that love
what you guys are doing. I mean, oh no.
Anyway, so whilst Pillar sorts out his battery's gone. So whilst Pillar sorts out, we might not get him back. We'll see. But so one of the things we've seen is that the New Zealand sides do use sleeping tablets, etc., to cope with this kind of thing, and there has been abuse of that in the past. They say they've got on top of that now, and the players are highly restricted as to what they get provided to them for that. So that is part of how they do it. Another part of it, I remember reading Jerry Collins' book, and he talks about how his pre-match routine is so set and the same every single time. And players like that continuity, players like that certainty of their pre-match routines, and it can come down to even sitting in the same seat in your changing room, and they feel comfortable when they don't have to think about things when it's all part of the routine. When you put them into an opposition changing room, it's a different seat. They might have to turn left or instead of right out of the changing room, and that sounds like small things for us. But that's another decision, another thing they have to think about. Whereas all they want to think about is their performance on the actual pitch, and all those things add up at the end of the day into affecting a player's performance, which is why you see some players are more impacted by playing away than they are at home. So hopefully I'll get to talk to. I want to talk to a couple of players about how they handle that kind of stuff. It'd be great to talk to a couple of the Sevens players where they're always on the road, and I'm trying to line one of those up at the moment. And how they cope with those sort of having pre-match routines, because pre-match routines are very big for players. Anyway, thank you, Pillar, for joining me. Sorry he's not here, but do go visit Grit Sports. He's got a great interview coming out on Monday, so do keep an eye out for Grit Sports and go check out their website. Also got a very good Facebook group as well. I've been Paul Gohan, Driving Maul. As I say, I'll be live post-match reaction to the Hurricanes versus the Crusaders, the Jaguares versus the Sharks, and also the Chiefs versus the Waratahs. So look out for those on YouTube. The first one of which I'll be down at the Crowded House in New Plymouth. So if you're in the area, come on down, have a beer with me, and maybe you can even come on the video and help me with the post-match reaction. My co-host may not be able to stay for the game, so we'll have to see now. Maybe it's going to be a solo show from there. We'll have to wait and see. So enjoy whichever rugby you're watching this weekend, and don't forget, subscribe, hit the like button, and leave lots and lots of comments.